the first thing we need to recognize is that Yahshua was resurrected. You know what I mean? He was resurrected from the dead, though he actually died, right? And we know that it's a couple of people, biblically speaking, that have men run back, right? Run back by Yahshua, run back by his followers, his disciples, right? Was able to resurrect the dead, bring back, the people that were sick and died, people that fell out of buildings and died, run back, to life, right? The resurrection, right? So we know that it has been people that have been brought back and brought back, being resurrected, right? But we're going to be trying to focus on the first resurrection of the saints, right? The first resurrection that's supposed to be taking place in the book of Revelation, right? So we're just going to jump right into some scripture, and we'll go to Matthew. We're going to be let's go to Matthew 27, and we'll start at verse 49. Matthew 27, verse 49. And we know that this is talking about when Yahshua he was getting crucified, right? And now he's up on the stake or the tree or whatever. So a lot of people say cross, but he up there, he's being crucified, and they're watching him. And this is where we are starting off from. So we in Matthew verse 27. Chapter 27, verse 49. Let's go. But the rest said, leave it. Let us see if Elijah, right, comes to save him. So a lot of people say Elijah because he never died, right? So he got taken up. They were saying that he was like a spirit, a ghost or whatever. And they thought that actually Yahshua was Elijah. A lot of people did. But we see that they trying to see if he's going to come save him, right? Let's keep going. And Yahshua cried out again with a loud voice and gave up his spirit. So he gave up his spirit and died, for us. Let's keep going. And see, the veil of the dwelling place was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth was shaken, and the rocks were split. Very important scripture here. When Matthew 27, verse 52, and the tombs were open, and many bodies of the set apart ones who had fallen asleep were raised. Okay? And coming up out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the set apart city and appeared to many. Okay? So we need to recognize that when Yahshua came back, when he died, the first resurrection took place. It says it right here, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of still learning on this topic and, letting the Rahaka Dash, the spirit guide me into all truth. And so I'm still kind of learning this aspect of it too, like the first resurrection, you know what I mean? But we can see that the set apart ones who had fallen asleep were raised, so to me that sounds like the first resurrection already took place. And if that's so, then we're gonna be getting into a lot more scripture. Let's go ahead and jump into First Thessalonians. We're gonna go to First Thessalonians 4. And we'll just read 13, verse 13. First Thessalonians 4, verse 13. And it says, now, brothers, we do not wish you to be ignorant concerning those who have fallen asleep, lest you be sad as others who have no expectation, right? And we don't need to be sad about people that's dying, right? We actually should be happy, the opposite of people that celebrating birthdays and stuff, being happy that somebody born. I'm happy that I was born today. Into sin, we need to be happy that those that fall asleep, that are dead, because they'll be back, right? Let's go. They might be back now. Let's read one more scripture. 1 Thessalonians 4, verse 14. For if we believe that Yahshua died and rose again, so also Elohim shall bring with him those who sleep in Yahshua, right? The ones that's in Yahshua, though, will be brought back, right? You're going to be brought back. Possibly already, because Yahshua already died. And when he died, he brought him back the set apart one. So, of course, that's what being in Yahshua is. You set apart. You can't be in Yahshua and not be set apart. Let's go to we in 1 Thessalonians. We're still in 1 Thessalonians. Let's go down to 5 and let's start at verse 1. Now, brothers, as to the times and the seasons, you do not need to be written to, right? Because nobody knows. For you yourselves know very well that the day of Yahuwah comes as a thief. As a thief, though. A thief. In the night. For when they say peace and safety, which they've been saying, then suddenly destruction comes upon them, as labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape. Okay? So, it's coming suddenly. So, if you already are, listening to Yahuwah, which he's speaking through me and his prophets, you see the times, you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, come out now, you know what I mean? Follow me, and let's go gather our people. Let's get our people together. It's time to go. You know what I'm saying? But some of us, they won't get it. That a thief is coming. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand that part. But let's keep going. But you, brothers, are not in darkness, so that this day should overtake you as a thief, right? And some of us ain't in the darkness, dog. So, we're not going to let this day overtake us, man. Let's keep going. For you are all sons of light and the sons of the day. We are not of night nor of darkness. So then, we should not sleep as others do, but we should watch and be sober, right? So we don't need to be sleeping. A lot of people sleep. They already dead. Like they're walking dead. You walking dead. You sleep. You got that veil over your eyes. You can't see. You can't hear nothing. You know what I mean? But we should watch and be sober, For those who sleep at night, and for those who get drunk, are drunk at night. But we who are of the day should be sober, putting on the breastplate of belief and love and the helmet of expectation of deliverance, right? Because Elohim did not appoint us to wrath, but to obtain deliverance through our Messiah, Yahshua the Messiah, Master, Yahshua the Messiah, right? Who died for us so that we, whether awake or asleep, should live together with him. Okay? So we need to be watchful and know, we will live with him or whatever. Let me see. Make sure this was all I wanted to read for y'all. Yep. We'll move on to another scripture. Let's go to Daniel. And we'll be in Daniel 12. And we'll start off, let's see, verse 1. Yeah, let's start off at verse 1. Now, who is Daniel? Daniel is a prophet. Again, Yahuwah was speaking through Daniel. Let's read. Now, at that time, Michael, right, shall stand up, the great head who is standing over the sons of your people, and there shall be a time of distress, such as never was since there was a nation until that time. And at that time, your people shall be delivered, everyone who is found written in the book. Okay? So, at that time, there'll be distress. Right now, we got distress that ain't never been seen. Every day, it's something that is making history, and setting a record. And it's a lot of things that they took offline, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that they're not reporting on. Earthquakes and things coming out the sky and all types of stuff, distress. But these are the times of distress, wars, famines, like all types of things that's going on. And it shall be a time like this. It will never, such as never was since there was a nation, right? But people will be delivered, everyone who is found written in the book. So are you in the book? You know what I mean? Let's keep going. And many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth wake up, some to everlasting life, and some to reproaches and everlasting abhorrence. Right? So many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth will wake up. Okay? Let's keep going. And those who have insight shall shine like the brightness of the expanse, and those who lead many to righteousness, like the stars forever and ever. And some of us gonna be, brought back, the first resurrection. You can look at it in many ways, like, oh, it didn't happen yet. Or you can say it did happen, right? And you can see that it's some people that are shining so bright and that are leading many to righteousness. You know what I mean? Leading many to righteousness. And it's a lot of deceivers too. Well, where are they trying to lead you to? Is the question. You know what I mean? That's why you always got to go back to Yahshua. Like, are they following Yahshua? They doing okay? You know what I mean? If they doing other things, then they might not be leading you to righteousness. And a lot of people ain't shining like the brightness of, you know what I mean? They ain't shining like the brightness of the expanse, right? They're not shining like that. They shining in the world standards of shining. Let's keep going. But you, Daniel, hide the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall diligently search, and knowledge shall increase. Okay? Many shall diligently search. For what? The truth. You know what I mean? And knowledge is going to increase. We see that knowledge is increasing right now, right? I mean, it been increased. But, really is increased right now. Let me see if it was anything else I wanted to read in this scripture. All right, let's pick up at Daniel 12, verse 10, right? So we know that he was hiding the words, right, that we got now until the time of the end. So we know it's the end. Let's go to Daniel. We're in Daniel 12. We'll go down to verse 10. Many shall be cleansed and made white and refined, right? But the wrong shall do wrong, and none of the wrong shall understand. They're not going to understand certain things, the ones that's doing wrong. But those who have insight shall understand. Okay? And from the time that which is continue is taken away, and the abomination that lays waste is set up, is 1,290 days. Okay? Blessed is he who is waiting earnestly and comes to the 1,335 days, right? So we're waiting, right? Blessed is the one who's waiting. I'm talking to Daniel, but you go your way until the end and rest and arise to your lot at the end of the days, right? So, man, we at the end of the days, man. End of the days is here, man. You know what I'm saying? Like the end. We're going to go to Revelation. Let's go to Revelation 20. And we'll just see what Revelation 20 got to say about the first resurrection, you know, because I'm in belief that the first resurrection already happened, you know. So I think that a lot of things already came to pass in Revelation. But I'm not going to lean on my own understanding, which a lot of y'all say he leaned on his own understanding. I ain't going to say I understand everything. I know everything. But I know I got the spirit of truth, and the spirit of truth is going to reveal it in due time. I will know the truth. But to my belief, I believe that the first resurrection already took place. And some of us that's walking the earth are already being resurrected. We already been resurrected for this very day, because it seemed like to me that they already are gathering together, you know, for the great war, you know what I'm saying, of Armageddon, right? Let's go ahead. We're going to read Revelation 20, and let's start off with verse 1. We're just going to read on down. And I saw a messenger coming down from the heaven, having a key to the pit of the deep and a great chain in his hand. And he seized the dragon, the serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. Now, I think that this already took place. You know what I mean? Because, first of all, you know, Satan was hurled down from heaven. They kicked out of heaven and then bound for 1,000 years. And I think that Yahuwah reigned 1,000 years when, like, the pharaohs and like the chosen ones was actually in rule, you know, for those 1,000 years, and then he came out. So we was in bondage for the last 400 years, and those 400 years is over. But I've been praying over this because, you know, if we in those 1,000 years where he is about to be thrown back into the pit, you know, I don't want to be here when he come back, man. The world's so bad now, I can only imagine what it'd be like if he came back after 1,000 years. But anyway, let's keep going. And he threw him into the pit of the deep and shut it up and set a seal on him, so that he should lead the nations no more astray until the 1,000 years was ended. And after that, he has to be released for a little while, right? So I think the little while that he's been released has been, you know, these last, you know, good 500 to 1,000, these last 500 to 1,000 years, you know. But let's keep going. And I saw thrones, and they who sat on them, and judgment was given to them, and the lives of those who had been beheaded because of the witness. So the ones that's judging will be the ones that has been beheaded, and they bore to Yahshua, and because of the word of Elohim, who did not worship the beast, nor his image, and did not receive his mark upon their foreheads or upon their hands, and they live and reign with Messiah for 1,000 years. So that's where it kind of get tricky at, because I'm like, well, if the first resurrection already took place, where it's saying that the ones that don't take the mark will reign with Messiah for 1,000 years, right? But they say if you take the mark, there ain't no coming back from that. You know what I mean? Like you can't come back from taking the mark. So I don't know. But let's keep going. And the rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years were ended. This is the first resurrection. Okay? So is the first resurrection would be the ones that didn't take the mark, right? The ones that died for Yahshua, in Yahshua, got beheaded. This is the first resurrection. But we also know when Yahshua came back, the set apart ones came back with him. Right? Let's keep going. We in Revelation 20, verse 6. Blessed and set apart is the one having part in the first resurrection. The second death possesses no authority over these, but they shall be priests of Elohim and of Messiah and shall reign with him 1,000 years. So, again, now we see if you do come back for the first resurrection, which it was a lot of people resurrected when Yahshua died and he was resurrected, right? Death possesses no authority over them, so they won't die, right? So let's keep going. And when this 1,000 years have ended, Satan shall be released from his prison. And he shall go out to lead the nations astray, which are in the four corners of earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together for battle, whose number is as the sand of the sea. So I think that we at Gog and Magog right now, gathering together. A lot of people have been saying Magog and Gog, is Russia, China, whatever. What I'm saying? They gathering together. And I believe that this is taking place right now. You know what I'm saying? Now, who says that, Revelation is in order, like everything is going to happen in order as it says? Who knows, right? And we can't really go off of our own understanding again. But I think that this right here is taking place right now. And Satan already been released. He was released daggone when all the wars and stuff started, like World War I, just like deceiving, being deceiving and getting his weapons ready for war, because most of these wars have been practice. They've just been practicing really for to control the citizens. If you look right now, if you look over in Gaza and what they call Israel or whatever, right? If you go over there, you look at that land, where you can see the weapons that they was using. The U.S. was actually giving them weapons, even Ukraine giving them weapons to practice, to see how they can practice and control the population. You know what I'm saying? You see more dead civilians than you do actual the vets, people that's out there, what I'm saying, in the war, fighting in the war. So, I think that this is happening right now. I think Satan was bound when Yahshua died them 3 days and he went in the earth and to grab the keys, what I'm saying? And I think that, it's a lot to when he did die and go down in the earth for those 3 days or whatever, right? It's a lot to it. But I think that that's when he went down there and actually released Satan. or whatever, you know. But I'm not sure, you know what I'm saying? But I really think that the first resurrection already took place, you know. Let me see how much time we got. Well, I think I'm gonna leave off right there. But the first resurrection, you know, it'll be the resurrection of the chosen ones, you know what I'm saying? Of those in Yahshua, we do know that much. And we do know that it's been resurrections, you know, before Yahshua even got resurrected. Because he resurrected a lot of people that was dead. You know what I'm saying? He just ain't say they was dead. It was like, nah, they ain't dead. Go get them and tell them to raise up. Raise up. You know what I'm saying? He never like really said that anybody was dead. You know, Lazarus, he did cry. You know what I'm saying? He cried because, you know, he knew, you know, he was dead. You know, he mourned with the family or whatever. But we can appreciate, man, that, you know, y'all's even blessing us with the you know, the grace of being resurrected from the dead. So, you know, and then you can look at it spiritually too. Like if you get baptized, you know what I'm saying, like truly baptized in, you know, in Yahshua, you know what I'm saying, Father, he's Father Yahuwah's name, and you know, you get the Ruach HaKodesh, the set apart spirit upon you, you know, and get baptized with fire too, you know what I mean? But that's a sign of your flesh being dead, you know what I mean? And he'll give you a new name. That's why I got the name Yahshua, because that was the name the Father had gave me, because, you know, so I can't go by my earthly name no more. Because my earthly name got numbers and stuff attached to it, you know? So me getting baptized, you know, that was me spiritually dying and being raised just like Yahshua. So, you know, speaking, you know, I already died.